There are people out there that are so poor, all they have is money. There's no family.
Damn.
There's no real love.
99.9999% of people who post out there, even if they post a picture of their food or they're doing the duck lips, I don't know if they do that anymore.
It's not real.
Yeah, why? Because we're all acting.
And I feel like every woman out there, they want to feel sexy and wanted.
Yeah.
I think every woman wants to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling for them, believe it or not. You know what I mean?
Carlos Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in. Yeah, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up.
Welcome back to the All In Podcast, where the truth is unedited. I am your host, Carlos Reyes. And today you definitely want to stick around because to be, here, I'll say this. Unlike what the entrepreneur bro culture pushes on what balance should look like with family or during holidays, today we're going to debunk that on more than one occasion, okay? We're going to teach you as an entrepreneur how to really have the best of both worlds. So stick around. Before we start the episode, let me introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the most interesting man in the industry, Mr. Zadie. I don't know why we always have to, it just goes right when we yell the name.
You're the only one yelling.
Zadie! All right, to his right, I got my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal Shakir. And to our left, I have Mr. Born Closer, a.k.a. Adrian Salgado. Gentlemen, first and foremost, how was Christmas?
Amazing. Great.
It was. I just sent some Merry Christmas to some people today because we partied hard until last night.
Like in a healthy way.
Very
It's
healthy. Oh yeah, absolutely. That we didn't. No one got.
You know what's beautiful. I don't want to say crazy. What's beautiful is, I know you had a beautiful Christmas. You had a beautiful Christmas. You had a beautiful Christmas. I had a beautiful Christmas, right? And I feel like all four of us individually were the reason why we had such a beautiful Christmas is because we were extremely present.
Facts.
We were so present. We were so grounded. We were so in the moment. And I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. In the past, that was a very difficult thing to achieve, to get out of our heads and be right there, right where your feet are. You know what I mean? I feel like that has been the difference maker over these past couple years, where we have now prioritized family and time with our loved ones over anything and anyone. Would you guys agree?
1,000%.
I think it's the most expensive gift you could give your family. It's the best gift you could give them is to be present. Not just give them some sort of physical thing,
Yeah,
like
but bro,
actually
let's be honest,
there,
bro.
you know?
Let's be honest. All right, let's be honest. Number one, easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been there, right? Like easier said than done, right? Number two, according to Instagram, right? Everybody was a loving father or a loving mother or a happy marriage or the picture perfect family, because that's what Instagram, that's what social media, that's the portrayal that's put out there, right? So again, easier said than done, and easier posted than done.
Yeah.
The fact is, right? The fact is,
yeah.
whether you're just posting like it's like you have this beautiful family kind of dynamic and structure, and you really don't. This is not to like ping on you or jump on you, right? This is not to do that, to degrade you.
Yes, it is.
No, I'm honestly just telling you that the real thing is 100 times better than the portrayal and the dopamine that you get from the portrayal on social. The real thing.
It's funny that you're talking about this because I was talking to my wife because like sometimes I have these radical ideas, and I was telling my wife,
especially lately.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Northern
I don't
Lights
like
lately, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, why do we take pictures? I kind of don't like taking pictures. That's why I don't really post, like even the content that you guys see because I'm here on the podcast and somebody else posted it.
Sal, I
never
think
wanna
I
log
took
in.
3 Christmas pictures over 2 days.
Yeah, well, that's
That's it.
But like the family wants to take pictures, and I'm like, deep down, I don't. And I told him like, why do people take pictures? Because what we wanna look back sometime in the future. Because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take this picture so I can be happy when I look at it. And why can't you just be happy right now? You don't need a picture to
hold on.
document that.
Ooh.
Right? And then, and then she made me, that's what my wife does, right? She made me realize on the other side. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, but what if we want to remember them when they were young, and then show them how they were young. And like that reminds us remind us what it was like.
I think there's a good balance in there.
There is.
Yeah.
But this is why I like the radical comment, because it's 99.9999% of people who post out there, even if they post a picture of their food or they're doing the duck lips, I don't know if they do that anymore.
It's not real.
Yeah, why? Because we all want, like, we're all acting. We're all acting. Like, and even when somebody's like in front of the mirror, which is crazy, the same thing happened. My wife, she's probably gonna hate me by saying this all night, but she was
Go on.
She was changing, and like to go to this Christmas party, and she looked at herself in the mirror, and like she did this serious face, and I'm like from the background, and I'm just watching, and then a second later she just started dancing, like and I'm like, oh, there she is. That's when you are out in public, but you're not like that, because we all like don't want to let our inner child out, because we're all acting in public.
But
which
you
is
know
crazy.
what, Sal, yes, but I feel like every woman out there, it's a really good thing. Like they want to feel sexy and wanted.
Yeah.
I think every woman wants to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
If it's very fulfilling for them, believe it or not. You know what I mean? It's not even like an ego thing, and
It wasn't even about
I know,
that.
yeah. But go ahead.
No, sorry, but I don't want, just so I can finish this off. It wasn't even about the look or the
Like her, like, damn, I look good today.
It's that we think that we need to do this or a certain way, or to lift a shoulder in public or walk a certain way to have this perfect image for somebody else, rather than like if you just let loose, and that's what's perfect.
I
right?
love what you just said, and that's gonna take us down a rabbit hole, right? Because this is what I'll say. There has been, now that I've praise God have like tapped in, right, and to more intention. You know what I mean? I know when I'm presently creating a future memory.
Oof.
Think about what I just said. The first time that happened to me, I think you were there. You're always there for some reason, dude. You bro, you need to go home. Right? The first time that happened,
I need to be around more.
you were there. Oof. You might have been there. Anyway, it was a couple years ago.
Someone needs
Sal.
to fix things.
It was a couple years ago, and it was my both of my daughters can still fit in one of those what do you call those little cars? What do you call
Toy car?
those? Come on, bro. The little cars. They
Oh, like,
no
Toy car, bro. Toy car.
Razor?
power wheel.
Power wheel.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Right. So they were still young enough and small enough to both of them fit in the power, where Michaela was driving, and she's 12 now, and Sienna was the passenger, and she was like probably, I don't know, 3 or something. You know what I mean? But they both were in the. And then I'm just kind of like walking behind them, and they're just like, they look back and they're like, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," and bro, as soon as they turned around, I just started bawling. But it wasn't like it wasn't sad tears.
Yeah.
It was tears of gratitude. And then I'm coming around the corner, and then my wife goes, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" And I'm just bawling, bro. And I said, "We're creating memories right now."
Damn.
Literally, that was the first time I ever tapped into that.
Wow.
I'm like, I am seeing myself in the future. I literally just photographed this.
That
thing.
is that picture. The tears
That's
is your
right.
picture.
And I'm like, it just directly went to my subconscious mind, and I can always look back at this moment. We're creating memories.
Whether
right
you
now.
have a picture or not, you can look
That's
back.
a
I
mental
have it.
picture.
Yeah,
He has a
yeah.
mental
I have
picture
it.
of it, right?
I
Not
can
a
see it right
physical
now.
one.
I can see what I was wearing.
Here's
Right? You know what I mean?
here's the thing with that too.
See, Sal, you got us down this little rabbit.
Yeah, here's
hole.
the
My
thing with
bad,
that
my
too.
bad.
Because I feel the same way too. As far as pictures go,
Yeah.
I'm always overly present that I don't even pick up my phone to take pictures. Which my wife tells me there's never going to be pictures of me and my kids because I'm always taking a picture of you and our kids, right? So that there has to be a balance, right? I have to now pick up the camera and take pictures of them equally. But to go to that, right? You can tap into that memory and you can picture yourself.
Yep.
Your kids have that same memory. They just haven't tapped into it. And I uncovered this on Halloween because
Ooh.
my son, there was you were there. Remember when Isaiah got burned?
Yeah.
Oh,
his
yeah,
face?
yeah,
New
yeah.
Year's?
The
Oh my
fireworks.
God,
The
that's
fireworks.
crazy.
So there was a whole thing that happened. My son got, second degree burns on his face from a Roman candle hitting him in the face.
I told you not to light them up.
Yeah. I think he was 3 years old.
I've seen too many accidents, guys, with fireworks. Real quick, truth be told, I've seen so many, like, not in front of me, but digitally, right? Have seen so many people's hands being blown out,
Yeah.
right? Including an NFL player. He played for the Giants at the time,
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Jason Pierre-Paul. Literally lighting up a firework, boom, blows up his entire hand. And don't get me wrong, the guy still finished out a really good NFL career. But can you imagine what he could have done with two hands?
Two full hands.
Two full hands, right? So it's like when I saw that happen, I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's not worth lighting up these, firecrackers or fireworks, blowing up my damn hand.
Yeah.
But
Well,
go
so
ahead.
my son got hit in the face. He got 2nd degree burns. Paramedics came. There was a whole ordeal. As we were leaving, because we were at your house, as we were leaving, me and him, we stopped in the garage and I was holding him. And we stopped in the garage because we were leaving. It was just me and him in there. And I started crying.
Mhm.
And he was on my shoulder and I started crying. And then he goes, "Dad, why are you crying?" Right? Mind you, this guy has 2nd degree burns on his face right now. And he's asking me while I'm crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, weren't they trying to put mustard on his
Yeah.
face? No, So
Fire department told us mustard's only for hot dogs. And
So
hamburgers.
that's
Let him
really
finish.
no.
Don't worry,
Listen,
bro.
I know. Let him finish. But here, you guys, the severity of this issue, like everybody was kind of running around wild. I think me and Adrian were like the only ones that were kind of present in the moment at that time. You know how some people we were like, okay, hold on, how do we fix this, right? And you're like that too. I think my mom was like, we need some Savila aloe vera. We need some aloe vera. And I go,
Aloe vera?
"Ding, there's aloe vera right in the middle of the little right there in the
Outside
street.
in your street.
And then once again, aloe vera is that's a much better thing for a burn
Mustard.
than mustard.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just throwing for all the
That would
parents out
burn
there.
so much.
We're just gonna
Mustard? What kind
debunk
of
the
mustard?
mustard.
Yeah,
thing.
the mustard.
I heard
thing
of
is
toothpaste, but no mustard.
None of it. All of it is
All that's
ultimately
bad,
to
yeah.
make the skin to lower the temperature of the skin.
Yeah.
So anything cold, ultimately, so cold compress is ultimately the best thing, or room temperature water running on a face.
We
I learned
do
this, but-
something way too more radical, but
Yeah.
it's tomato paste,
See,
Yeah, that's good.
and
Oh,
it's
man.
it works
Crazy.
because it
Where do you even get
cools it
tomato
off.
paste?
So like the radiation time is impeccable.
Yeah. Go ahead. You're holding him?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was holding him, and I asked him. And he asked me, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Son, I hurt you." Right.
Mhm.
And his response at 3 was, "Don't worry, Dad. God got me.
Mhm.
God got me."
Mhm.
And I started crying even more.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, he's now 10. Halloween this year, a couple months ago. He was going through it like that week towards school. There was a whole situation at school that, somebody had brought a fake gun to school, and he noticed it. He was a part of it, and he saw it, and he was feeling kind of like his life was threatened, right?
Mm.
And me and him took a walk down your street, and we were walking, and then I sat him down up on your mailbox, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, do you remember what you told me when we were walking through the
Ooh, yeah.
And he goes, "No." He goes, "I remember getting burned by a firework, but I don't remember like anything else that happened." And I said, "I started crying, and what you told me was that God's protecting you."
Mm.
And I said, "And I'm telling you again to reminding you that
Wow.
you are protected by God."
Mm-hmm.
And he just looked at me and he was like, "Oh, wow." And he just started remembering the whole
Mhm.
moment and stuff like that.
Mm.
And so I say that to say this is that you saw that moment, and that moment's forever etched into your
Mhm.
life, but your kids don't know the opposite side of that, right? They may have some recognition or remembrance of what happened that day of them turning around, but you have to spark that. You have to spark that memory for it to be continuously instilled.
Wow.
Right?
Ah,
To show
yeah.
how
By bringing it
gratitude
up
is.
and talking about it.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to bring some of those things to awareness, right? And pictures help with those things.
It's true.
So
With pictures,
here-
man. Online, I see all these people taking pictures, full family picture, not like one person's missing. And I'm like, bro, like I don't have a photographer in my house. Like, what do? You set up the camera, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you go, you take a picture. Like, what do you do, bro?
all right,
Exactly.
I want to talk. I want to talk on that. By the way, okay, I want to talk about that real quick. So if you take a look at like the picture that I posted of kind of our Christmas, right? You see,
What do you
it's
mean,
the
kind of our Christmas.
well,
What
no,
does
it's
that mean?
okay. It's the little puppy. We're naming her Tootsie.
Oh, you got a
Bro,
puppy?
don't go with
Oh,
it.
It's
nice.
Tootsie.
It's cute.
She's a little black
So you
Frenchie.
caved in.
Yeah.
Her name's Tootsie. Vanessa wants to name her Tootsie. Okay,
Okay. Let's see.
like a Tootsie Roll.
Who's gonna take care of this
Like
one?
a Tootsie Roll. Okay, bro. The options were Layla, Pebbles, or Tootsie.
Pebbles
Anyway.
is fire.
All right, but bro, if you take a look at my picture where I'm with my mom, right? I only took 2 pictures. One I'm with my daughters, and the other one with my mom and my wife and my daughters. Bro, my hair, like if you take a look at it, right? Like my hair, you can tell I haven't done my hair.
There's still
in
glitter
2
in it
days.
from the
Yeah,
day
There's
before,
still
bro.
glitter.
Wow.
Bro,
isn't
I-
that Vacation Carlos?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
character? Like
Yeah, I'm
Vacation
wearing-
Carlos character is the
that,
sloppiest.
but what does that tell you? What does that tell
You
you?
don't care.
Yeah,
And
he's
back
relaxed.
to-
He's relaxed. He's being
Yeah.
himself.
Back to his point.
Yeah.
To his point, right? I will say I don't understand, and I think you and your wife have some of these, which by the way, I think they're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't understand how people can print, they can actually I get it. Like there's professional pictures all over the internet on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But you know what? I get it. You guys took them before Christmas Day.
Of course.
Oh, that's the hack. Okay.
And you were like,
All
we're gonna drop them like the album drops
Oh,
on
bro,
Christmas
yeah,
Day.
yeah,
right?
fire, bro, the
hottest thing on the
Exactly.
planet.
Because you're gonna bring
Okay.
a
You
photographer
just
to the
found
house.
that
I
out.
just never
Christmas
understood,
Day,
bro.
bro.
I was like, damn.
But the show definitely didn't start to go. Like, was this the topics? I think the audience were like, "Is this what they were going to
This
talk
is the
about?"
post-Christmas episode.
Oh,
and we're-
okay, so
well,
it's
today's
related.
subject
It's
It's
is
about
flowing.
being present and being
Yeah,
showing
exactly,
Yeah,
gratitude.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
great. So it's flowing with the right direction.
it's flowing in the right way, right?
Well, yeah. So you drop them. Yeah, you go earlier and then you drop them. I was until I got married. I never did that.
I love
you
it.
know,
By the way, I think
but-
they're beautiful.
I could
It's
imagine.
credits to my. I freaking hate.
first of all-
I love the pictures and all, but I hate preparing for that because
Well, it's
she
pain in
does
the
all
ass.
like God bless her soul. She
I
does the
saw she-
outfits and she takes care of everything. I just show up, right? Or I
Yeah,
sell
yeah,
the and
payment.
show up.
She's the
But-
CEO.
But
Yeah, I can't take pictures of my wife, bro, because she has to like get her hair done, makeup. I can't take any candid photos. Like it's like she's like, I don't have pictures of the kids, and I'm like, yeah, because every time I take a picture, you erase it.
But see, like for that reason,
I
no,
don't
for
like
that reason, because I feel bad because my wife says the same thing, that I'm never gonna have pictures of my kids because I'm taking pictures of you guys and you don't take pictures, and I still don't do it. So you're a step ahead. So maybe this is a way of me showing pictures together maybe once a year. I can help with that.
I'll tell you what, like I said, I asked for one picture and one picture only. And that was, hey, I want to take a picture with my mom, my wife, and my 2 daughters. I
Separate or
asked-
in one?
I intentionally asked for that picture, right? The other one, my daughter, I brought the puppy over and my wife and all that. But anyway, so now I understand there are a lot of professional pictures on social media on holidays, right? But I get it. They kind of like, I get it. They take them before and they're like, we're dropping them on Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? And then they're like, boom. And I'm over there all nappy. I'm like, damn, bro.
Do you put the dog in the box?
I don't know. But let me just talk about this. Sal, something that my wife is very conscious of now.
I don't know.
She knows, and actually our whole family now knows. For years and years and years and years and years, it was disgusting how many gifts were under the tree.
Yeah.
I remember last year. You were
Now, by the way,
talking about
not just for me, by the way, for everybody. Like, like me or Vanessa and I, we're giving to, his son, his daughter, and our other nephews and nieces and stuff. And when people come over, everybody.
It was like a competition.
Yeah,
too.
but here's what I've said over the past, I would say, I don't know, 3 to 5 years.
Well, 2 years ago, it really climaxed, and it hit, and I think that was a breaking point when we came in, and before we started opening presents, there wasn't even room for the kids to sit down to open presents.
You know what it felt like, Sal? No, you know what it felt like? Sal, you know what it felt like? It felt sinful.
Yeah.
It honestly, like, I'm not even saying like I felt like guilty or shameful. No, I felt like it was gluttony.
Oof.
To have all
So
those
many of
gifts
them,
under the
yeah.
tree. I'm like, dude,
They're not even gonna play with all of them.
forget all that, bro. Here's the real thing, because this is another thing that I do not understand about. Like, I remember when it was cool to, because when you grow up poor, right, you automatically are, I would say, like subconsciously programmed that when you actually get it,
Yeah.
you want to show people that you're not poor anymore.
Yeah.
So then, you take pictures of all the presents, the freaking hundreds of presents under the tree. Designer, ask me how much designer I got this year or how much designer my wife got this year. Zero. My mom gave me a
great.
pair of,
Draws.
Oakley's,
no. What do you like?
tortas.
No, the shoes that you wear on Christmas.
Tamales.
Oh, yeah,
the comfort, like
slippers.
slippers. Yeah,
But
my
they're-
mom,
they're
not
not-
huaraches. My
chocolates.
mom gave me a pair of huaraches or, slippers.
Those are the ones you rocked
And,
at office.
Don't
I
say
think
that's
that was
disgusting.
probably
amazing,
it, bro.
yeah.
My mother-in-law gave me like $100 Nike.
A
gift card.
You've gotten more gifts than I have.
But
'Cause I
what
don't
I'm
care
saying
for
is,
gifts, but that's
our family is now very conscious about like not being disgusting and not having a bunch of like unnecessary gifts under the tree.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like, bro, like where's the cutoff point?
You know what?
of-
Yesterday, actually,
You know what
so
I mean? Where's the cutoff point?
Yesterday, my son still sleeps in our room, and he woke up in the morning excited. He's like, "Can I go? Can I go now and open the gifts?" And we're like, "Okay, you can go." So we bought both of them. My daughter was still asleep by then. I bought my son like this a gift, which I think is simple. It's like a spider thing with a remote control, like from Disney, which is
Spider Pig?
no, it's a spider or whatever.
Spider
Like a-
Pig.
Yeah, Isaiah had-
Spider
yeah,
Pig.
so it's like $100 or and then I saw like 2 other gifts. So there was 3 gifts for each child. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, why these extra gifts? She explained to me, she's like, oh no, this is like from Ross and this is like from like these things like $5, but just extra things, but they're meaningful. Like I showed you, my daughter had like a little doll, right? So it's not
And
it's not
she's playing with
expensive. Yeah,
it.
she's playing with it.
Yeah.
So, and like a little like stroller that's like very basic gifts, right? But in
Yeah.
my mind, she's like, oh, it's not expensive. I'm like, it's not about expensive. Like that's not the point I'm saying this. I'm telling you this because we're teaching our kids at early age, and let's just be conscious of that, is that we're telling them that more is better. Like at an early age, more is,
Wow.
and most of our lives, like we're programming our kids that in order for you to be happy, you need to get more things.
Mhm.
And those
That's
things
right.
have to be until we went to this rabbit hole and I'm like things, and like we get older and that's we want more cars and flashy things because that brings us happiness.
Yeah.
But in reality, none of that stuff. And I wish like all people like reach that point to see that this is not what it's about.
It's such a beautiful place to be,
Yeah.
right? Where you're no longer attached to
Things.
external things, and your identity or who you are now is no longer attached to what you have or what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But sometimes you have to like either try it and you're like, man, is this it? This is what I was working toward for 40 years or 50 years, or and you look back, you're like, really? That's not. I feel deceived.
And it's,
You know,
so
right?
here's something that one of my
Yeah.
here's something that one of my coaches used to tell me, right? He's like, I am not my business, right? I am not my things. I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions, right?
That's beautiful.
I'm the soul in control,
Yeah,
you know,
that's beautiful.
This
right?
were you finished?
Because we
with that? I'm
really are
sorry.
not. Yeah. Before you go on, by the way, you, my friend, have the worst gift out of anybody I know. You definitely win the worst gift award. You got your 4-month-old daughter a huge baby, a huge doll.
I didn't get her. Her mother-in-law.
What is
my
a
mother-in-law
4-month-old
got
gonna
that.
do with the doll, bro?
My mother-in-law got her that. She could feed her. She's feeding her.
She's 4
learning.
months old. She can't feed herself yet. You gotta be a little more.
She's
thoughtful,
conscious. She's
bro.
conscious, bro.
No,
she's feeding.
she's
She goes,
not.
oh, that's how you drink. Okay, that's how I gotta drink. It works.
Sal, how old's your daughter?
She'll be too. Yeah.
Yeah,
she's
she
almost
plays
two.
with dolls now, right? Oh,
Yeah,
the baby.
yeah.
It's getting there.
Your
It's getting
baby,
there.
like, bro, come on.
So this is what I was gonna say. So I'm like, what's the reason for Christmas to us?
to celebrate the birth of Christ.
Right. So I feel like there's something going on, bro. Like what does the tree, right, have anything to do with that? What does the fat man have anything to do with that? What do gifts to children have anything to do with it? I just feel like that. I feel like that's like the enemy trying to take away
Distract
the real
us.
mean of
Okay,
what
I
the
can
Christmas
see
is.
that.
Paganism out of the holiday.
But even with that, you know, even I know the origin of Santa Claus is a Coca-Cola created Santa Claus.
I thought it was St. Nicholas, like a real.
It's a
Saint.
combination of St. Nicholas and the guy that went down chimneys to steal stuff, which was I forgot his name, Kris Kringle.
Yeah.
So they combined both of those things. They created Santa Claus. They put Coca-Cola colors on him so they could sell this cold drink during the winter. Even though I know that, bro, I still put that guy in front of my child, and my child looks at that guy and it's like, Papa, Papa. You know, he calls him Papa. And he gets happy and there's gifts and everything. And I just feel like there's some sort of like joy that comes to the kids, you know, and like I don't want to take that away and like explain all this stuff. So I'm like, I debate that all the time, bro. I'm like, do I tell my kids?
You're
Do I
gonna
not
die
tell my
early,
kids?
bro,
I'm like,
debating stuff like this. You know why? Because I get it. And I know there's some
Shit, bro.
people like, yeah, like, you know, I'm not anti Christmas or I'm Santa because they want to bring the truth to that.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell them.
I'm gonna
just,
break
you know,
it down to you.
Go break it down.
Is
Thanks for
that
wishing me to die early. By the
yeah,
way.
that's
The
not
fuck?
definitely not
Jesus
because I
Christ.
want you to live longer.
more
So I'm
of a
gonna give you the
warning.
key
Yeah,
to look
There's
at the
more of a
positive
I'm already
side.
40. I'm good.
There
I'm
are
good.
things that are happening in our lives today
Mhm.
that we do on the daily, on the common daily,
Right.
that is not even thought of a few hundred years ago. But it is very common to use like this is the right thing. Because in your mind, like, yes, this is the way, like, hey, this is how you set up a camera in this position and this and that, or whatever that is, that whatever thing that you do. And that wasn't even a thing before, like, or somebody would have looked at it the way they're looking at it, like,
Yeah.
how dare they, you know, create this thing, or they go on about their life.
Or even flushing a toilet. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
whatever
flush-
that is,
yeah.
but it's part of your life today, and you're like, oh yeah, well those are the origins of it, and you don't even care about the origins of it. It's just part of your life. So everything will evolve eventually, and none of that stuff matters. Like eventually we'll find the fine balance, and if there is fine balance of having a fat man going down a chimney, that's a fairy tale with movies. Then
But
I
it
know
goes
what
to
you're
this.
saying.
Only goes to this. It's like, okay, we all believe in God. He's as real as anything to us, right?
yes,
So we tell our children about the fat guy, and eventually they find out that the fat guy's not real. So what if they start questioning?
see that I hate
what
that
if they
lying part,
what if
yes.
they question?
Yeah.
They question God.
Same thing with Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah.
That's
Same thing.
bro.
Actually, Carlos
hey.
gave me some great advice about this.
Same thing with the Tooth Fairy.
Right.
Same thing with the Easter
Yeah.
Rabbit.
I don't want God to be in that
Guess
same
what?
category,
Guess
bro.
what, bro? Some kids think that Barney is real.
He is real, bro.
Right? But I mean, why don't you tell them what I told you on our walk about the Elf on the Shelf?
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about having small gatherings with just intimate people, not having to entertain, but actually enjoy the company that we're with, right?
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Me and Carlos, I'm on 75 hard, so me and Carlos took my 45-minute walk outside of his house, and it probably lasted a little bit longer. And we just
I joined them.
We just had a long
for you.
conversation.
That's how peaceful it's been.
And even as simple as like the Elf on a Shelf, right? I do this for. I don't know if he should. My son probably watches.
Oh.
Don't let him watch this. Or
He won't
edit
watch
my
this.
part out.
All right, so the Elf on the
edit my
Shelf
part
thing,
out.
right? There has to be a way of breaking news like this to kids that doesn't seem deceitful at the end, right?
You don't want your kids to lose their trust in you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're talking about
Okay.
this. I have a problem with that. I told my wife when they ask, I said, "You answer them." I'm
Okay,
not gonna,
but
because
here,
everything I
Sal,
say is truthful
Sal,
to my kids.
Sal,
Well, yeah.
Sal,
Yes.
and I agree with you,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to lose your son's trust
Yeah.
over Santa
fat guy.
Claus or Elf in the Shelf or the Tooth Fairy, right? You don't want to lose their trust. But here's the other side to that. Continue, Mr. Adrian.
How you introduce them to, you have to, it's almost like you have to wean them off of it. Like, hey, this is the deadline. Like, at this age, things start to change. Right? It's almost like you hit puberty, you grow some on your testicles, and then Santa Claus doesn't exist anymore. At a certain time, right?
Every night,
you learn about the birds and the
Every night
bees.
he's looking, he's like, Santa, no hair, Santa Claus is still real.
Oh my god.
he is
So-
real as,
So I think,
hairless.
yeah. So I think Santa Claus, Elf in the Shelf, the Easter Bunny,
They're healthy imagination tools.
you know, that's what
They
I was
do
gonna
bring
tell you.
joy.
So, brother, I think one of the worst things that we actually lose as human beings is our imagination.
Yeah.
I think it's very.
If I listen, bro, if I could have, and of course there's a balance, right? Like I can't be around, I can't go around thinking that I'm like
Like you have imaginary friends.
the Tooth Fairy. I
Yeah.
understand, you know what I mean? But you know, you especially for children, right? Like you want to keep them children as long as you possibly can, because I mean,
they're gonna grow up and
they're gonna grow up, they're gonna work for 40 plus years, you
Yeah.
know, that like life's gonna hit them. Like nobody goes through life without getting hit, you know, somehow, some way from somewhere, right? So maybe if there's a healthy way to just say, hey, you know, Elf in the Shelf is, hey, by the time you hit this age, Mr. Elf in the Shelf doesn't exist, and like he goes away, or you know, he
Only
stays
for
with you. He
kids
just
or something.
becomes a doll.
Yeah,
he becomes a doll for the rest of your life, right?
He finds
Listen,
younger
what I'll
kids
say
to go
is,
after.
I know that at some point, right, when your son is a grown man, you know, he's gonna say, he's probably gonna tell you like, hey, Dad, you know, thank you for those were very joyful years for me.
Oof, yeah.
I look forward to that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want to find a happy
Yeah,
meal, because I guess my idea is that comes is full circle. Like my wife stood in front of that mirror and did the serious look,
You're looking
and
for
then
the kid again.
and then
the duck
dance. I
face.
said, there she is. That's where we all because we all play this game called life, and it's a serious game
Mhm.
where it's not supposed to be a serious. Like you're born as a child, you're jumping in a puddle of water, you know, just being
Getting
a child,
dirty,
jumping,
yeah,
yeah,
getting
just
wet,
happy, popping bubbles, and you know, anything is such a joy for everything. And then we somehow we get programmed, and like, because the society the way it is, and there's roads and there's cars, and therefore they can't just run around because there's a car that might hit them, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously there is
Mhm, mhm.
this is our own, like, society made that. And with that comes the price of we have to play serious, and in order for you to be in business, you have to be serious all the time, and the whole world is trying to make us forget how to be kids again, to be playful, to dream, to all these things. And I think that is part of the problem. The problem is that the machine itself creates more of that, therefore creates more people that suppress their
Inner
true
child,
self,
or their inner child.
because it's all an act. We're all trying to act like what everybody thinks I should act like.
Yeah.
Moms tell kids sometimes, they're like, this is not who you are. When you do something, like, I'm sure you're like, or it says that as a family,
Yeah.
like, this is not how we are. That's how we do things. And you're like, as a kid, you're like, yeah. But whatever she thinks that should be, I'm gonna do that.
Mhm.
And the same thing, her mom told her, and the same thing her mom. You see what I mean?
But here's the
it's all
beautiful here's the beautiful thing about life. And bro, I'm telling you, every time, not to be argumentative, combative, right? But I'm starting to see, I now see whatever this one thing is, like the point that you're making. I try to look at it from different perspectives, not just yours or mine anymore.
Other belief
Right?
systems,
Like,
kind of.
No, just you know, perspective is infinite, right?
Wow, yeah. Oof.
So even with that, there's also a healthy side to that. There's a good side to that. I'll give you the primary example. Ready? My daughter used to not care about getting straight A's in school.
Mhm.
And then I started to put that as a standard on her. See, this is right, full circle, right?
Mm.
It's like, hey, you know, this is who you are, right? Like your standards are, I'm going to love you regardless, but these are the standards, right? This is what dad used to accomplish during the 7th grade, right? Guess what? What happened this year? Once I started kind of putting that construct on her, right? Straight A student all year long, National Junior Honor Society, ran for class president.
Wow.
She has participated in the basketball team. She's on the softball team. I mean, you know this, right? So sometimes there's good and bad to that.
1,000%.
Right?
I was gonna have so
See how
many
there's
scenarios.
all these
I want to
perspectives.
add this about your daughter, how amazing she is. This is when we were
She's
place we
taller than
went
you
to-
already.
we were feeding the homeless, and I was next to V, your wife, and we were cutting up.
There, she's doing
Apples.
community. She's doing community service.
And so,
at that age, were we
and so
doing
yeah, she
community
was
service
there.
at that age?
So, anyways, I was talking with V about the whole Santa Claus thing, right? And she said that somebody told Michaela like Santa doesn't exist and like ruined it for her, and then she was gonna tell your younger daughter that Santa doesn't exist, and then
Vanessa-
Michaela.
No, this was was it Elf in the Shelf or Santa?
Oh, Santa.
Santa. Okay, this was Vanessa and her having a conversation. My 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And Vanessa told my daughter.
Yeah, I
right,
told her.
Hey, I'm gonna tell your sister that
yeah,
way.
Santa doesn't
'Cause
exist.
I look at how heartbroken you are.
Yeah.
I don't want her to go through the same thing.
And it was so impressive what Michaela said. Michaela said, "No, Mom, that's gonna ruin Christmas magic for her. She'll forgive you later."
Mm.
And I'm like, "Damn,
There it is.
bro,
There's your
like,
answer.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
There's
bro.
your
Like,
answer right
that's
there.
Advanced.
I'm
Take-
happy with that.
Yeah.
I'll take
no,
that.
Yeah.
Brother, that right there solves a lot of.
It's just something about when you don't lie. I don't know. It's hard to
I know what
explain
you're
this.
about
When
to
you
say.
do not lie, it's like a clean windshield, and any speck of dirt.
You'll know.
It's not a
Like-
speck,
Brother,
it's a
brother,
shit
but this
from
is-
a bird.
Hey,
That's
hey,
what
listen,
a lie
hey,
is.
listen,
Yeah.
hey, listen. Have you ever heard of a white lie?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what we try
It's
to
white
make
because
ourselves
pigeon
feel
shit's
better
white.
about it,
That's
right?
why.
Which is fine. I get it. I'm all for it. I'm not saying no to it. It's
No.
just I'm saying why it's hard to. A white lie is still a lie. There is a
Pigeon
lie
shit.
in there.
I get it.
So
I get
it feels a little wrong to
Yeah.
do so. Therefore, that act itself doesn't feel right. So I have my wife. I'm like, he would ask me, and I would ask my wife. So, you want to give him the answer?
That's a cop out, bro.
At the end of the day, I never lied to you. It was your mom.
You know what? It could be.
That's what he's
and then,
doing,
and then
bro.
he would ask me, he's like, and like there's in the movie, and he's like, is that real? Like because we just watched the Santa movie, and is that? I'm like, no, that's they're acting to be that, so I can, like I can wash it off.
My
Like,
God,
by the way-
Sal, your
Oh,
son's
yeah,
gonna have
bro.
no childhood.
I had-
oh no, my son hey, I
had
can
to
argue
play-
he has
I had to
a
play.
great childhood.
I played Santa this year at my grandma's house every year. She's
You
95 every.
were the darkest Santa
Oh
that
my
the
God.
North
But yours is
Pole
on
has
75
ever
hard.
Yeah.
It's a
seen.
skinny
So
ass
I
Santa,
played.
bro.
I
You were
played
the-
Santa, and
How'd you
My-
got a full grown like black beard?
I
Okay,
got
bro,
a
you wear a
beard that
white one
covers
on
it
top
and
of it.
everything like that. We had the
Jesus.
full ensemble,
Suit,
bro. It was full cosplay.
Okay.
Don't act like you don't
Right?
know.
Okay.
But my daughter was there. She's 3, and we were on the way home. She goes, "Daddy, you were Santa," and I was like, "What?" She
my
goes, "Yeah, you came in and you were like ho ho ho, and then you were talking to everybody and giving presents, bro." Mind you, my daughter has like she's still developing her speech, so it's
Yeah.
like every other word you
Oh
could
my
understand.
God.
And I was like, no. I was like, I was in the restroom. So we had to keep telling her. I was
So
like, I
you
missed
lied.
it. And she was like, okay, you missed it. So I was like, whew, that was a close one.
All right, here. Actually, I'm gonna say I just lied to my son yesterday. I just realized this,
There you go.
and it was
a
such a
pigeon
funny
shit.
lie. Because it's not PG-13.
It's a white lie.
But guess what? What the?
I'm not justifying lying. We don't lie. Like we don't as men, and we don't lie. But there's how do parents handle that with children?
What's
There's
it-
some things that are just.
Can
you
we
can
identify another term instead of lying? Right?
It's a white lie. It's a.
I guess you can find some humor. in it.
fabrication?
Christmas
I mean, it's a
fantasy.
justified white
Justified
lie.
with some
Christmas
humor, maybe
magic.
that makes
There
it a
we go.
little better.
Michaela
Right?
said
Christmas
it. Christmas
magic.
magic.
Well, my son said this.
You know,
So my wife,
sorcerers do magic
my wife
too,
had
but
a couple friends come over, and
Witches.
my son is 4 years old. I don't know where he's never heard it from somewhere because he didn't. It's so funny. He said, "The sex you in the morning," and he laughed.
Wait, what?
And my wife told me he just said that, and she was laughing about it, and he was there, and he's like, yeah. So what? What did I say? What did I say? Because he's trying to find out what he said, and I'm like, wait, Baba, what did you say? he said it, and I'm like, what do you think it means? He's like, I don't know.
He heard it. He said it in English.
He never heard it from anywhere. He just made it up.
He
in
heard it.
English,
Yes.
and he couldn't translate it into Arabic.
No, but even in English, he doesn't understand me. I mean, he just said it, and he because we laughed about it, and she told me about it to laugh about it. He's like, what is it? What does that mean? So I had to make a lie. So I said, it's, oh, you said it could be, because we're trying, what could it be?
Yeah.
And me and my wife look at each other, I'm like, could it be that? How, where would he doesn't even know? Where would he hear it? He doesn't even know.
But now you're getting a false definition.
And
for
then
sex.
I said,
Oh,
no, I
damn,
said, oh,
jeez.
maybe you might, because he has a lisp. You know, they're like, oh, maybe text you in the morning. And he's like, why? What does that mean? So I took my phone and I texted my wife. I said, hey, I'm texting you. And she receives it. Like, so what is it? I'm like, oh, it's this. Text you in the morning.
Oh my God.
That, I had made a whole elaborative.
Bro, he's going to grow up, go to school and be like, I'm going to sext you.
Well, how do you deal with it, right?
That's
I get it. I
But
get
yeah,
it.
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
how do you
that
deal
was,
with it exactly? That's,
Here's
that's a good
all right.
question.
most people don't lie because it makes them feel guilty and shameful.
Yeah.
Right. I think it
To their
comes down to
kids, you
that.
mean, right?
Guilty, and and what does that do? It lowers your energetic frequency, and then now you're in you're operating in a lower state, right?
Yeah.
You don't feel that way when you're, when you're, your little
instilling
son
Christmas magic into your
Dad,
children.
look, right? And again, bro, I don't know what's right or wrong when it comes to that, right? I don't know, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know, but what I do know is, I love my children and I love them being children and I love the imagination and I just love to see the joy and the excitement and, those are great memories, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. I just record like I
get
did a video. I did a video of Elf moving around.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, like a girl. Like I made Elfie zip down from like second story.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God.
yeah,
So real quick, because the episode is about the entrepreneur bro culture, these perceptions that they give you, or these, what I would say, these ideologies that they give you as how you should handle holidays, right? Like I saw so many people on Instagram, you can tell they didn't they didn't let their foot off the gas. And a lot of people actually will pound their chest about like, look at
I'm
today's
working on
Christmas Day,
Christmas.
right? Like, I'm still grinding. I'm working. I'm going to make this amount of money today, right? I literally saw multiple people do that, like film themselves and say how the grind don't stop and, the entrepreneur bro culture, right? And I'm sitting here, now that I'm older and more experienced and I've burned the candle on both sides early,
hair.
right? I got the nappy hair, I got the slippers on. I don't care what you think. I'm having a great time, right? This is like business hippie Carlos, right? So anyway, now that I've seen that there's two ways to get to your ideal destination in the entrepreneur world, right? There's a lot of ways, but here's the two most popular ways. You can grind hard and go, like the entrepreneur bro culture tells you to do. You can grind from, 5 a.m. to midnight every single day, burn the candle on all sides, right? Not prioritize your family, not prioritize your health, right? Not prioritize your peace of mind, not listen to your body. You can just go, just be a machine. And there are some people that do that.
That's right.
Especially those that have set themselves like in their mind, I'm going to become a billionaire. I'm going to become a billionaire.
No, you know what they say to themselves? That's not what they say. I'm gonna become a billionaire. But in reality, this is what they say: I'm gonna eventually be happy when I get the
That's
billion,
right.
or like sometime in the future, I will be happy someday in the future. But
Jay,
right now it's just suffer. I'm gonna suffer through all the way through.
And then here we'll fast forward and get, it's like, hey, and then they come out of that, right? Or they're on their deathbed and they look back and none of them wish that they had worked a little longer or worked more. All of them wish that they can have the time back that they could have spent with their children, with their loved ones. They never say, man, I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have
clocked in
made more
another
money.
2 hours.
No, they're like, man, I wish I would have, man, look at my daughter. She's 30 years old now.
Damn.
When she was 5, I didn't even, every
Wish I
time
would've
she
taught
asked
her
me
to
to
ride a
play,
bike.
I said no. Every time that, she wanted to show me something that she was proud of, I didn't even bother because I was so stuck in my head about chasing this numerical outcome.
Mm. Mm.
That happens, right? And here's what I'm telling every entrepreneur out there, right? There's really no such thing as balance. You know, offsetting. I talk about offsetting a lot, right? Because balance it's very difficult. Like, let's face it, you're not going to spend 40, 50, 60 hours with your children all day long. I mean, you're doing that at work, right? So you got to do your best to offset that, right? Like, I don't bring business to the house, and I don't bring the house to business. You know, I try to, like, okay, I once I'm stepping through that garage door, I get into dad mode. I take my business hat off.
Right.
I put my husband hat on and my dad hat on. And then I also have this other rule, right? No business in the house.
Mm-hmm.
No business in the house. If for some crazy reason I got to take a phone call, it's either going to happen on the driveway, in the garage, or in the backyard.
Yeah.
Never inside the house.
There's
right?
this.
So what I'm saying is, listen to everybody out there, you know, chasing millions and chasing billions. Maybe you get there, and maybe you get there sooner than most of us. Maybe you get there in 10 years, and we get there in 20 years. Okay.
Oof.
But here's something that I just want you to keep in mind. You might get there, and you might get there on fumes. You might get there all broken. You might get there
Alone.
You might get there sick, right? Unhealthy. You might get there and you imploded and neglected your family, and they're no
Incurable
longer around.
sick. Yeah.
You might get there, and it might be very lonely, and now all you live in constant regret every single day. And the money and the achievements, right? They will not substitute that feeling of guilt and regret.
Yeah.
Or you do this the right way, right? You do this the right way. When you're at work, you're at work. When you're around your family, you're around your family. And it might take you 20 years. It might take you 20 years, not 10 years. But when you get there, right, you're going to notice that the last 10 years or 20 years of what it led to that point, right, you're going to notice that you're like, man, I have lived in so much peace and harmony. And I created memories with my daughter, and I created memories with my wife. I'm here. And I'm so fulfilled because I achieved my financial goals, but more importantly, right, I achieved fulfillment as a husband and as a father, as a human being. Now, which outcome do you want?
Well, obviously, the second one. But you said you might get there in 10 years, and maybe you'll be sick, and maybe you're not going to be happy, maybe
You
alone.
won't have a family.
I'm going to remove the maybe. I'm going to say 100% you won't be happy, because the people that want to get there that fast, that means they're only moving based on that self-interest, that selfishness, the ego in them.
Yeah.
And the maybe might be appropriate to say, maybe you won't get there if you don't wake, like, you're not going to be awake. Like, you may think that you've gotten there because that's all your ego seeing it. But if you wake up truly, you'll know that you're truly not happy. That's your ego is happy, which is what cares about the worldly thing, not
That's
you
right.
as a being, as a kid,
Yeah.
because that stuff doesn't make you happy. So it removes all that away. And most people would probably wake up at that point like, was this it? I feel deceived. I can find it somewhere else, because but then so much time has elapsed. So it's not the maybe. The maybe if you wake up to it or not.
There's a video I saw, and I'm going to shorten it down so the story isn't like 5 minutes, but it was a guy who was working, and his kid comes up to him and is like, Daddy, can you play with me? Can you play catch with me? And he's like, I'm busy, I'm working. So he did this for a few days. And then eventually the kid asked him, hey, Daddy, like, can you play with me? And he's like, no, I'm busy. I'm really busy. He's like, Dad, do you get paid at work? How much money do you make? And he's like, oh, I get $50 an hour. I'm very, very important in my company, this. So this kid goes and saves up his allowance to $50. And then he comes back and he says, Daddy, and he gives him $50 and says, can I pay you for an hour of your time so you could play catch with me?
Oh.
And I'm like, damn, bro, that hits so hard, bro.
Damn.
That hits so hard. So that video makes sure anytime my kid wants to play with me, no matter what I'm doing, like even if I'm like on the phone, I'll just grab him and I'll like play with them while I'm doing that. You know,
That's
All right.
That's
Can
crazy.
I read to you guys real quick? Because I think this would be very, very helpful to a lot of people. The story of the businessman and the fisherman.
I've heard that one.
Please.
It's a good one, right?
I don't.
yeah.
That one's tough, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
There's music. Imagine some soft music, bro. You can't not get teary eyed, bro.
We might have to put that one out, right? So the businessman and the fisherman. One day, a fisherman was lying on a beautiful beach with his fishing pole propped up in the sand and a solitary line cast out into the sparkling blue surf. He was enjoying the warmth of the afternoon sun and the prospect of catching a fish. About that time, a businessman came walking down the beach, trying to release some of the stress of his workday. He noticed the fisherman sitting on the beach and decided to find out why the fisherman was fishing instead of working harder to make a living for himself and his family. You aren't going to catch many fish that way, said the businessman to the fisherman. You should be working rather than lying on the beach. The fisherman looked up at the businessman, smiled, and replied, and what will my reward be? Right? And this is, well, you can get bigger nets and catch more fish. That was the businessman's answer. And then what will my reward be? And then the fisherman, give me 1 second. You will make money and you'll be able to buy a boat, which then results in larger catches of fish. And then the fisherman goes, what will my reward be? Asked the fisherman again. The businessman was beginning to get a little irritated with the fisherman's question. You can buy a bigger boat and hire some people to work for you, he said. And then what will my reward be? Repeated the fisherman. The businessman was getting angry. Don't you understand? You can build up a fleet of fishing boats, sail all over the world, and let all your employees catch fish for you. Once again, the fisherman asked, and then what will my reward be? The businessman was red with rage and shouted at the fisherman, don't you understand that you can become so rich that you'll never have to work for your living again? You can spend all the rest of your days sitting on this beach looking at the sunset. You won't have a care in the world. The fisherman, still smiling, looked up and said, and what do you think I'm doing right now? Right?
Yeah.
So I think you're right, Sal. I think you're right, Zadie. The entrepreneur bro culture teaches us to
Go hard.
And grind
In
every
one
day.
direction.
But it's sad to see. I believe that the divorce rates among entrepreneurs are probably north of 70%.
I don't even think it's the divorce rate that you should be looking at. And honestly, in my opinion, this is what I've noticed of being around a lot of individuals, right? A lot of individuals that have the same mindset as us, but also individuals that have that, I'm going to be a billionaire and I'm going to sacrifice myself last, but I'm going to sacrifice everything underneath me, meaning my family, my friends, my business, everything else is going to be sacrificed as well too. But I look at all those individuals and I look at the ones that have children and I look at the relationships that they have with their children. And I look at the children themselves on how they behave, how they interact with human beings, and how they are just, and I observe their children. And you can see a lot of them, their children don't come around. Their children don't have that relationship with their parents. Even when they are around a bunch of individuals, they're very awkward and antisocial.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because as a parent or as an adult, you didn't prepare your children to live amongst other adults, right? And so now we face this in today's society where we have a bunch of adults running around acting like children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a bunch of children that don't want to be adults.
It's all an act.
It's all an act. Yeah. So it's like, that's what I see. The divorce rate, that's inevitable. You can see people that are still together that absolutely despise each other and they just won't get a divorce for the simple fact that they don't want to have a divorce on the record, right? But when you see that broken home, you can tell, and it's usually the children that give away that broken home.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing. And you know, if you I've seen so many case studies where people ask really successful people, like we're talking billionaires here, right? Every single time they ask them is like, hey, if you could go back in your life. Now, these guys are like in their 60s and 70s and 80s. They're like, if you can go back, what would you change? What would you do better? And they all say the same thing. I would have spent more time with my family. They all say the same thing over and over and over and over. So it's like success leaves clues, man. Why not just, right? Like, why not listen to the guys that already been through the journey and they all say the same thing?
Well, the
not skip
definition
the
of
mistake?
success is I think, distorted because everybody thinks that success has to lead to dollars, and dollars would be
Or assets or
yeah.
wealth of
And
some sort.
but
Something
if they enrich the word success to themselves, it would mean so much more. Meaning
Yeah.
that you could be successful with or without money, or with both, with money and having beautiful memories, just like the ones that you were just mentioning, right?
Yeah.
Those are the memories that you're wealthy. You're not even successful now. You're wealthy. That's true wealth.
That's right.
Yeah, the other thing as we wind down the show, that I noticed, was there was a lot of, because I only follow like 300 some people, right? And
Only.
well, that's not a lot. 300 some people.
It's not about today's. It's a lot. It's a lot in general. Like, do you know 300 and some people in like?
No, it's,
You see what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
But there's people that follow like
I understand.
thousands. Right? I don't really.
Those are
That's
Yeah.
exactly why I commented on that.
families.
I wish I followed less people, but I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
You can mute.
Anyway, here's what I'm saying. It's kind of sad to see like some of the like entrepreneurs and influencers out there that actually they have all these things. They got the cars, they got the house, they got the jewelry, they got all kinds of stuff, and they spent Christmas alone. Can you imagine that? There are people out there, and this is a beautiful saying that I heard, and it stuck with me forever. There are people out there that are so poor, all they have is money.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no family,
Damn.
there's no real love. There's like, I saw some of this, like people that are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, bro, and they were alone for Christmas.
Yeah, man. It's sad, honestly. And I feel bad for those. Like, when I see the inner child in them, like they want just to be among some other people and to feel loved and love on people, but
Yeah.
their own ambition to chase money had put the blinders on everything else. Like they literally blurred out everything else but that one goal. Therefore, everything else just fades away, just like anything in life does.
Somebody told them when they were a kid that Santa doesn't exist too early. That's what happened.
Anyway. Yeah, anyway, it's sad to see that, and that's why, again, I think that's the best thing we can say to wrap up this show.
Well, I'll
right?
give some advice, right?
Huh?
For those people that are, some of these things are hitting close to home. If you have your children, they just received tons of gifts that they probably still haven't even opened yet over the past couple days. Pick a couple of those gifts, go outside, and spend an entire day just playing with one or two of their gifts. Right? Me and Isaiah went out and we were throwing the ball. Like, he got a new mitt, he got a new baseball glove, and he couldn't wait to play with it. So
That they will always remember. Remember, Dad, during that Christmas where I got that brand new glove, and we just went outside and just threw the ball
for like 3 hours.
See
So our
that?
arms were gonna fall off.
Knowing your kid, he's probably gonna be an MLB player
Those
now.
are the
all of a
memories
sudden.
right there.
That's for sure.
That, my friend, is priceless.
Amen.
Right. And with that being said, if you're enjoying these episodes, do me a huge favor. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Man, because of you, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this. I was actually, man, I was so like grateful. I was telling Sal, this channel has grown over 3,500 people in the past 28 days.
Nice.
In 28 days, over 3,500 people subscribed.
That's sick.
So if that was you, love you. Thank you. Tell your friends, right? And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We'll keep bringing this every single week for you. So until next time, God bless.